Okay, so we're going to start with question number 1 on page 56 of your Gold Scientific Inquiry packet. What does scientific inquiry refer to? Scientific inquiry refers to the diverse ways in which scientists study the natural world and propose explanations based on the evidence they gather. Is the following sentence true or false? Scientific inquiry often begins with developing a hypothesis. That is false. We always start by making observations and identifying a problem. Number 3, circle the letter of each sentence that is a scientific question. You should have circled A, at what temperature does water boil? And B, when does the sun rise on April 3rd? 4, a blank is a possible explanation for a set of observations or answer to a scientific question. That is a hypothesis. 5, is the following sentence true or false? Scientists consider a hypothesis to be a fact. That is false. 6, what is a testable hypothesis? A hypothesis for which researchers can carry out investigations and gather evidence that will either support or disprove a hypothesis. To test a hypothesis, a scientist designs an experiment for number 7. Matching the terms with definitions. The definition to 8, responding variable, is D, the factor that may change in response to the manipulated variable. Number 9, operational definition would be A, a statement that describes how to measure a particular variable or define a particular term. Number 10, manipulated variable, is B, the one variable that is purposely changed to test a hypothesis. Number 11, control variable, is E, an experiment in which only one variable is manipulated at a time. And number 12, variable, is C, a factor that may change in response to the manipulated variable. 13, is the following sentence true or false? If you do not control variables in an experiment, there would be no way to know which variable explains your results. That is very much true. 14, the facts, figures, and other evidence gathered through observations are called data. 15, in carrying out a controlled experiment, what does the data table help you do? A data table provides you with an organized way to collect and record your observations. 16, circle the letter of each sentence that is true about graphs. A graph can reveal a trend in data. B, graphs help scientists interpret data. And D, a graph can reveal a pattern in data. 17, a conclusion is a summary of what you have learned from an experiment. 18, what do you ask yourself in drawing a conclusion about an experiment? Whether the data supports the hypothesis. 19, the nature of inquiry diagram. 19, pose questions. 18, form a hypothesis. 21, draw conclusions. 22, why is scientific inquiry a process with many paths, not a rigid sequence of steps? Different questions may require different approaches to finding answers. 23, in scientific inquiry, what is communicating? That is the sharing of ideas and experimental findings with others through writing and speaking. 24, circle the letter of the sentence that explains why scientists describe their research in full when they communicate with other scientists. The answer is B. Other scientists need to be able to repeat a scientist's experiment. 25, what is a scientific theory? It is a well-tested explanation for a wide range of observations or experimental results. 26, is the following sentence true or false? Future testing can prove a scientific theory to be incorrect. That is true. 27, you can think of a scientific law as a rule of nature. And 28, how is a scientific law unlike a scientific theory? Unlike a scientific theory, a scientific law describes an observed pattern in nature without attempting to explain it. Please use these answers to fill in the correct answers in your packet.